um, playing music for about 13 years. I started with the drums when I was 11 years old, and I stuck with those for a few years until I moved to guitar, and then from guitar I moved to piano. So collectively, for all those instruments, I've been playing for about 13 years, and I've been teaching guitar and drums here at Firehouse only for about 5 years. A lot of things inspired me to pick up my instrument and music in general. A lot of longtime friends and family were incredible musicians, and especially those that were really close to me that I really looked up to. They were very talented, and so obviously seeing them, hearing them play, you wanna be like them. You wanna sound like them. You wanna be able to keep up with them and play with them. So I think that's one of the main things that inspired me to pick up the guitar, at least, and other instruments like the drums. But also you just look way cooler with an instrument in your hand, you know? Like, I could act like I'm cool all I want, but when I have a guitar in my hand, I'm just instantly cooler. So as a kid, and if you're cool, you play the guitar, or if you're cool, you play the drums. So it was kind of like one of those social constructs of like being a rock star or being a musician, going on the road, on stage, all the lights and the attention on you. So it's probably something underlying there that probably inspired me just a little bit more to pick up an instrument. My influences go every genre, every direction, all the time. I can't just sit down and listen to classic rock all day, or I can't just sit down and listen to jazz all day. I have to bounce around back and forth to rap, to indie, then to classic rock, then to metal. Then I have to go all through these different avenues in my head because of how much music I listen to and how much music that I enjoy. But just a few influences that I've kind of narrowed down for guitar, which is really hard to do because there's a lot of great guitarists, but these are just the ones that have stuck with me, and basically I could just sit there and listen to them play forever. John Mayer, Mateus Sasato, Mac Ayres, Slash, Jamie Cook, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Brian May, and Eddie Van Halen, of course. For drums, it's a lot more difficult because there's only one drummer that I have put on a pedestal, and to me is the greatest drummer of all time, and his name is Neil Peart. Spirit of the Radio by Rush is the first song that I ever learned to play on the drums, and so I am a little bit biased towards Neil Peart. But he's just a phenomenal drummer, and there's other drummers now that I listen to, even ones here that are modern. Anderson .Paak, Luke Holland, Aaron Gillespie, George Daniel, Ashton Irwin, John Bonham, and Ringo Starr. Students can expect to be questioned. I like to ask a lot of questions, especially if it's a first-time student or a first-time musician, just to kind of get a feel for who they are, what they listen to, what they wanna play. None of us here want to teach you something that you don't want to learn. So everything that I teach you is going to be things that you want to learn. I'm not going to listen to a song one day and then bring it into you and tell you you have to play this. It's going to be something that you want to listen to. So if you're a first-time musician or just a musician that you've already been playing for a while and you're coming in for lessons, I would come in with the thought in your head of, who do I listen to the most? Who do I want to play like? What songs am I going for? Because as an instructor, it's really important to get to know your student. And so I ask tons of questions on the first lesson, just so I can get a general feel for what kind of music you're into and who you are as a person. And then once we get all that stuff out of the way, the first lesson is pretty basic. We go over, both for the guitar and the drums, the parts of the guitar, the parts of the drums, what they sound like, the names of the notes. We go over a lot of finger exercises in the first lesson just to get your fingers used to it. Even if you're a musician that's already been playing for a few years, I'll pretty much ask you to act like you know nothing for 30 minutes and basically start from square one, just to make sure that we start on a good foundation and a good place there in the first lesson. And then after that, it's really sky's the limit. It's whatever you want to play, whatever you want to learn. Patience is probably the biggest thing, because even as I've grown up and I'm self-taught for the most part, I came in to Firehouse around all of these amazing musicians thinking that I had learned everything that I was going to learn and I was as good as I'm going to get because I never had to practice really. It came to me pretty naturally. And then I found out the hard way that you have to practice in order to get to where you want to be. So even if you're like me and music comes to you naturally, somebody that has absolutely zero music knowledge, zero rhythm, they can still outwork you and be better than you if you don't put in the work and the effort. So I think patience is definitely important because you have to understand that things don't happen overnight. It usually takes quite a while to play Stairway to Heaven. You're not going to come in on the first lesson and play Stairway to Heaven. It's going to probably take some time to get up there. So probably patience is the most important thing. As a female musician, the advice that I would give is to not let anybody try to bully you out of your instrument, out of what you want to do in music. I was lucky enough to be brought up around a lot of other female musicians. And so I never felt out of place. I never felt like I was taking up space in a place that wasn't mine. But being a female drummer it's not a common occurrence. It's pretty rare, especially in the drumming world, to be a female drummer. So if you're like me and you're growing up in a very male-dominated space like the drums or even on guitar, don't let that deter you away from wanting to be a good musician, from wanting to be a drummer or a guitarist. Don't let that scare you away. There are a lot of phenomenal female musicians, both drummers and guitarists, out there today. And growing up, I never had a problem, but I've heard some stories from others about how, drumming is for the guys, or, guitar is for boys, and that's just not true. It's the furthest from the truth. So that would be my advice to at least any young female musicians that want to get started, is that nothing is too far out of reach. Never lose the reason why you started playing music in the first place. Music is amazing, and it's a tool to express yourself. So anytime that you feel discouraged or you feel like you're not getting anywhere with your playing, or maybe it's not happening as fast as you would like it to, don't be too hard on yourself, and always push to be better, because you can't